Welcome to the Dan Casper Show podcast, your chance to catch the full show anytime, anywhere. If you missed it live on the radio, no worries. We've got you covered with all the sports talk, opinions, interviews, and conversations from the show. From the Packers to the Brewers to the biggest stories in sports and around Wisconsin, it's all right here. This is the Dan Casper Show podcast. On.com. WAYYradio.com. You got the app, download it, take it on the go. Your smart devices, smart speakers like your Alexa devices, you got that too. And of course, the video stream up and rolling on YouTube where, hey, I got a question on there. I need you guys to answer it. All right, it's an opinion one. It's not even a trivia one. Need an opinion one. So, make your comments over there. We got a little AJM Automotive Pump the Brakes Full Throttle since I am riding solo. Thanks to those who have sent over some Pump the Brakes Full Throttle questions. We're going to continue our top 250 countdown here a little bit later on this hour. We'll get back to some more Packers talk, too, with the Christian Watson extension. So if you have not chimed in on your thoughts on that, please do so. All right, hit me up. I'd love to get your input, your expertise, your opinion on it. So Brewers back at it tonight, going up against the Rockies after falling yesterday to the Giants and splitting that 4-game series. So Express are also on the road. They fell to Duluth last night. They'll be back at it tonight. Shout out to all the softball teams that have punched their ticket to the state tournaments. I know we've got still some high school baseball and such going on here too. So, all right, let's do a little cream of the crop this morning. My cream of the crop. We kind of did it yesterday, or I can't remember if it was mentioned last week or not. But if not, I want to make sure I do UW Milwaukee baseball. I mean, just the fact that it was a heck of a season, making the run, nearly getting to the Super Regional too, falling to Auburn. But shout out, I mean that's our D1 program, right, for baseball in the state of Wisconsin. So shout out to UW Milwaukee baseball for the run they had and nearly getting to the Super Regional. So that's my cream of the crop, UW Milwaukee baseball. All right, let's get to our AJM Automotive Pump the Brakes Full Throttle. A little earlier, John on the texting line. Let me bring it up so I can. By the way, Surveyor, no trivia because it's already hard enough for me to do this solo. Running the boards and doing all this stuff. So, nope, I don't want trivia today. So, John, a little bit earlier, said, pump the brakes, full throttle. The Brewers should go all in on a Tariq Skubal trade at the trade deadline. What's all – I don't want to say this, but not to be a dink or anything. What do you define as all in? Because does that mean – if they want Jesus Mate, do I do it? No. I don't want Jesus Mate on there. If it involves maybe some other prospects, let's say it's like Jet Williams. All right? Yeah, if it's Jet Williams, okay. Because I think they got depth there. I think they got depth with a Jesus Mate and such. So if it's something like that, honestly, why not? I think at some point you got to go for it because I get it. Teams really want to build their farm systems, and I think successful teams have to have a very good farm system. I mean, the Dodgers, we keep bringing this up, but the Dodgers are really good. They have a really good farm system. We focus so much on the players that they bring in and that they pay, but they also have a really good farm system. They're just a very well-run organization from top to bottom. And I think when you have a farm system, it's like a savings account. You're building it up. You're building it up. You're building it up. You just for something maybe. Maybe it's for emergencies, or maybe you're just saving up to make a nice purchase. Whatever it is, farm systems are kind of like that. And I think right now the Brewers are at a point with their farm system. Or maybe do we go out there and make that nice little purchase? Do we go up there and maybe make that trade? We built up our farm system. And I think you also have the confidence in your front office, your scouting department, that, all right, you send some of those players, you send some of those prospects. And remember, we don't know if these prospects are actually going to work out or not. That's the risk in everything. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. But I think you also have to have the confidence in your farm system that, or in your scouting department that you can rebuild it. Like that's one of our strengths. We can identify young talents and we can mold them. So yeah, there is untouchables to me. I don't want Fisher. I don't want him involved in trades. I know he's only in high A with the Timber Rattlers, but there's a lot I think to like there. I don't want Jesus Mate. If it's like a Jed Williams or somebody, I could probably be on board with that. So if that's kind of the all-in definition, yes. But if all-in involves Jesus Mate or Fisher, no. Those to me are guys I don't want to see go. Zach says, pump the brakes, full throttle. The Packers win the division this upcoming season. Oh, you're already asking me to do a pick. I don't like doing that in June, Zach. I don't like doing that in June. Because there's so much that could go on, and I don't want to jinx anything. I'll just say they have the pieces to do it. I'm going to cop out on that because I'm superstitious, and it's June. A lot of things can happen here. I'll just say they have the pieces to do so. Another texter said, pump the brakes, full throttle. Giannis will be dealt by the NBA trade deadline. I'm slightly full throttling that. I'm not like flooring it, pedal to the metal. I'm slowly accelerating to the full throttle. If I had to go one way, I think it's going to happen, unfortunately. The more I think about Jim Ozarski's comments from his podcast, and the more I go back to his comments about it's quiet, and that usually means there's something working. Now, it could very well be that maybe something they're working on is an extension. I don't know. I'm kind of teetering towards the other one. Dave, a little bit earlier, said pump the brakes, full throttle. The Packers should prioritize Tucker Kraft now that they got Christian Watson done. Full throttle. Yeah. Kind of talked a little bit about it in the first hour. But, yeah, I'm going to go full throttle. Devontae Wyatt's on that list. But I think, and I'll take it one step further. I think it's a priority to get it done before the season's over with. Get it done maybe before even halfway through the season. Ideally, maybe this offseason yet or shortly after the season begins. Mostly for the fact that if he goes out there and balls out, which I think a lot of us assume that he's going to go out there and he's going to have a very good season, that price tag goes up. And it probably goes up quite a bit. You don't want him to hit the open market because here's the thing. It takes one team. If you let a guy like Tucker Kraft hit the open market next offseason, it's going to take one team to give him a huge deal. And that changes the whole negotiation. That changes the price tag. We may have an idea of what that price tag is going to be, but we really, if you want to avoid a high number, you try to get the deal done now. And you probably try to get the deal done before he goes up there and explodes and potentially has a Pro Bowl, All-Pro type of season. Because really, this is my opinion, but if Tucker Kraft last year didn't get hurt and he continued on the trajectory of where he was at and the numbers he was putting at, that number is probably higher right now than what it potentially is. You know what I mean? Like, if he would have stayed healthy and he put up double-digit touchdowns, maybe close to 1,000, but, I mean, he was clearly one of the top tight ends numbers-wise, and you're trying to negotiate with him, that starting point or that number is probably higher than what maybe it is right now. It's a completely different negotiation. It's a completely different contract talk because now you have the element of like, okay, he's coming back from an ACL injury. There's potential there, but, I mean, hey, now. Maybe it's a similar contract to what Christian Watson got, which seems like there's a lot of incentives and playing time involved with it, which I completely agree with. I like it, and we'll talk about that a little bit more later on, and kind of like what we did in the first hour. But, yeah, back to the question, full throttle. I think that should be the priority. Tucker Kraft should be the priority next. And I would say, and this will work itself out because you're going to have salaries that are going to come off the books after this year. I think they want to get Devontae Wyatt done, and I think they can get both those guys done this year. But start to think about Edgerrin Cooper and Evan Williams. I don't want those guys to go anywhere. Start to think about those guys for future contracts. After that, they're not eligible right now. They got to finish up their third years. And remember, they don't have the fifth-year option because they're not first-round picks. And you know Green Bay's thinking about that already. Pump the brakes, full throttle. After this upcoming Packers season, we'll be talking about how much of a bargain the Christian Watson deal is. That comes from Matt. I'll say full throttle. Obviously, there's a lot of unknowns to that. We can't predict. But based off the potential and based off of, I think what majority of us believe that Christian Watson can do. Yeah, I think there's a very good chance, kind of like when Devontae signed his first extension with the Packers, and it looked like a bargain shortly afterwards. I think we could have. I think it's a very real possibility we could be having that discussion next offseason. Watson has the talent. Watson has the skill set. Watson has the ability to be a 1,000-yard receiver, if that's the benchmark we're using, to be a double-digit touchdown catching dude, we know he's a big play potential receiver. He's got all that. And I totally get the concern about health and being on the field because, I mean, that's a fact. But it's also a fact that when he is out there on the field, he is a difference maker, and he is the offense. A lot goes through him, if not the majority. I mean, he is a focal point of that offense. Time and time again, we have seen that over the last couple of years. But if he goes out there and plays 16, 17 games this year, yeah, I could definitely see where, February of 2027, March of 2027, we're looking at that contract and be like, man, might have gotten a bargain on that compared to how the other wide receiver contracts are looking at in the NFL now. Pump the brakes, full throttle. This comes from Joe. Joe says, pump the brakes, full throttle. The Brewers will add a bat before a starting pitcher by the trade deadline. I'm going to pump the brakes, actually. Because, and it's going to be a slight tap of the brakes, actually. Because, I'm not counting call-ups as adding a bat. Whether it's Jet Williams or Cooper Pratt or whoever, I'm not counting that. I'm assuming it's guys from outside the organization, a trade and that. So I'm going to because I don't see them doing that. Maybe it's just based off history. And I know they've added guys like Moustakas. And they tried with Jonathan Scope, and that was David Stearns leading the way and such. I think they're going to prioritize pitching depth and maybe another starter or maybe another bullpen arm. I think that's where they're going to go with this, especially if a guy like Jake Bauers continues to hit homers for this team, and you're going to get him more playing time. The obvious need is the left side of the infield. There's no debate about it. That is it. I just feel with especially the National League and maybe specifically with this division, the price is just going to be too high. And we got months yet. A lot is going to change. And a lot will change before we even get to that trade deadline. I just feel the Brewers won't pay that price. And it's so hard, I think, this year to kind of forecast what teams are thinking and what they're going to do, because that labor discussion that's going to be coming up. What are teams? What's the payroll? Are we going to have a salary floor next year? I am 99%. Okay, I'm 95% confident saying we're not having a salary cap, even though the Major League Baseball wants in. Players have adamant, and I think the players will hold out as long as possible so they do not have a salary cap. So I don't think that's ever happening. So what is the where are they going to meet in the middle on that part? Where's the compromise? I think we're going to get a salary floor. But again, are the Brewers going to, does that mean the Brewers are going to go out there and add already proven talent at high price? Or are they just going to lock up more guys like a Cooper Pratt and a Jackson Chourio? Little unproven at the time that they signed, but maybe could be bargains. So I feel like if they're going to make a move, and this is going to probably change, and this is probably going to be a pump the brakes, full throttle question going forward up until the trade deadline. But right now, I don't see them going outside of the organization to get a bat. That's just my gut telling me that. That's all it is. We'll do one more here. So, again, thanks to everybody who sent in your Pump the Brakes and Full Throttle and helping out here. So, Pump the Brakes, Full Throttle. We'll do another Brewers one. Pump the Brakes, Full Throttle. Jacob Mizorowski will win at least 15 games this year. What was he at, 6? Full Throttle. Why not? He's got to get 9, and we're not quite halfway through. The way he's pitching, if he's going to go 6, 7 innings, and this is all assuming he's going to stay healthy and such, I'll full throttle that. I'll full throttle that. Maybe another one to kind of go off that is who leads the team in wins this year. Is it him or Harrison? I don't think anybody else is going to catch it. Well, Aaron Ashby. I'm sorry. Did not mean to overlook you, Aaron Ashby. Starting pitchers. All right. Aaron Ashby's going to lead the team in wins probably. But between Mizorowski and Harrison, who's going to have the most? I think eventually it's going to be Mizorowski. Did not mean to completely ignore Aaron Ashby. My bad. But all right, that's your Pump the Brakes Full Throttle, brought to you by our good friends AJM Automotive. We got to take a quick break. We're going to continue our top 250 countdown, the top 250 sports moments, games, players, whatever, in America from the last 250 years. We've gone through 40 of them. By the time we go through the next 10, we'll be at 200 left. All right, quick break. We'll be back in just a couple of quick minutes.